So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Galaxy S26 Ultra versus the OnePlus 15 speed test. This one has been requested quite a few times. Let's just go ahead and kick things off with a boot up test in 3, 2, go, and see which one can get there first. Now, both these phones do have the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, but the Galaxy One is an overclocked version for specifically the Galaxy S line. So we'll see if that makes a difference in this video. I do have the base 256 gig or 12 gig of RAM version of the S26 Ultra, and this is the 512 gig, 16 gig of RAM version of the OnePlus 15. But you've seen that the Galaxy S26 Ultra did turn on slightly faster than that of the OnePlus 15. And so let's go ahead and do a fingerprint test between both of them on their ultrasonic fingerprint sensors in 3, 2, go. And you've seen that they do have a different way of flying in, but both are nearly the same exact performance. They just come in a little bit of a different way. Which way do you prefer, or which animation do you prefer how they launch in? It looks like the Samsung may be slightly quicker looking with their animation, whereas OnePlus is going for a more pleasing, polished look right there. Now, looking at the face unlocks, they both can just simply bypass the lock screen, and they've been able to do this for years, but you'll see they kind of have that same animation you'll see if you go ahead and unlock them with their ultrasonic fingerprint sensors. Getting into these phones is pretty much exactly the same in terms of performance. Not only on booting up, they're only within seconds, but also face unlock is about the same as well. Now, when going through the actual performance of One UI 8.5 has been pretty good. I mean, navigating the system, I don't see too many stutters or anything like that. You know, going over here, operating into the privacy display option that is available for this phone works just fantastic. And just like the One UI 8 that came before it, it's just snappy. So I really enjoy using the Galaxy S26 Ultra daily when it comes to performance. Just kind of going through this phone feels like one of the faster experiences on the market today. And that's funny because back in the day, the Samsung devices, and I'm talking about way back in the day, they weren't always the fastest phones, but now they're actually the phone to beat, I feel like, a lot of times when it comes to these speed tests. You'll see right here, very fast to navigate here on the OnePlus, but I am seeing more of an emphasis on smoother animation, just a super smooth experience, and it really does feel like butter. It's like a butter knife on, slice of melted butter when you're like going through the Oxygen OS over here on the OnePlus 15. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's a little more animated looking than even the One UI 8.5. So it comes down to, I think, if you like speed, you might like the look of One UI, how it navigates, or if you like the OnePlus 15, you might like polished looking animations a little bit more. Let's get into the app test now. But before we do that, I want to point out here that we do have a clock speed of 3.63 gigahertz on that cluster 1. You'll see over here, same clock speed on cluster 1, but look at the cluster 2. That's where things change a little bit for the S26 Ultra, 4.74 gigahertz, over here 4.61. So you can see that slight overclock right there on the Galaxy. All right, guys, so here we are at the application launch speed test. Let's go ahead and go into calendar, and you can see launched a little bit first there on the left. We'll swipe up out of there, and we'll go into clock, and about the same as we navigate through these different sections. They seem to pop these basic apps open exactly the same. We'll go into calculator, and exactly the same. We'll go into Play Store, once again, pretty much exactly the same. You do have what appears to be a little bit of a larger looking display on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. The shape is also more iPhone-like on the OnePlus. So let's go into weather on both, and they launch at about the same clip. No major issues. We'll swipe up out of there. We'll go into ChatGPT on both. That was faster, I think, on the OnePlus, but it was showing a pop-up, but still pretty much the same. Both have number rows. Both of them very fun to operate. Let's go into Gemini on both phones, and they launched at about the same as well. Gemini's been launching better lately. Let's go into Copilot. You'll see basically the same again. So we are running the same chip, so I'm not surprised by this. Let's go into Groupon, and that was faster on the OnePlus. And it looks like we had a little bit of a delay there going to categories, but that's not to say, I think I have eye comfort on. Why does it look like that, or adaptive color tone. Let me go ahead and turn that off real quick. Yeah, the screen looks a little bit of a different color, so let's keep it a little bit more the same here. Let's go into oil change and maintenance. You'll see pretty much the same, and so very nice performance on both phones. Let's swipe up out of there, and we'll go into Instagram, and let's go over here to my profile page. We'll take a look at my S26 Ultra post right there. We'll scroll down, and you can see in application, the OnePlus, it looks like the Samsung is scrolling faster on board. Let's swipe up out of there, and we'll go into X, and we'll go over here to profile page. And as we swipe through there, very, very smooth on both. It looks like OnePlus's scrolling is smoother, Samsung's is faster. Let's go into news, and you can see launches first there on the right, technology. I think that was a Samsung, I'm not sure. My eyes didn't catch that one. We're gonna scroll through there. Very good on both. Let's swipe over there, and we'll go into Dead Trigger 2. And keep in mind, we do have the same non-linear type animations on both, although they're a little bit different. It's very hard to detect many major differences. They're not that detectable. The Samsung and the OnePlus both do have vapor chambers. We'll go into Subway Surfers, but the OnePlus does have a tri-chip and an OP gaming core. There's also game mode on the Samsung, and the Samsung launches Subway Surfers City first. We'll just let the game begin, and then we'll just get up out of here. So we'll just start for a minute there. Casual games, they'll eat through those for breakfast. Let's go into RTS and Race the Sun. And we had a don't allow on the right that could have delayed it a little bit, but still seemed to launch at about the same pace on both. We'll go into Free Fire. And this has been one of the closest speed tests I've seen in a while. These phones are neck and neck right here. So really, this does come down to which one do you like more, the OnePlus or the Samsung? Samsung takes the victory there, right when I was saying how close they are. Usually that happens. But Free Fire does go to the Samsung. I do like the shape of the Samsung screen for playing games. I think it's like a big, like TV-like feeling in your pocket. I've always felt that way. Let's go into Destiny Rising here. But I do like the shape of holding the OnePlus 15, because the OnePlus 15, when you hold it, it's very comfortable to hold, and it doesn't really get toasty warm. It also has a longer lasting silicon carbon battery on board. So that phone is probably the better experience for gaming. This is going to be maybe quite similarly good as well. Hold on, one of these is distracting me with their volume. I think it was the OnePlus. But let's go over here to tap to play. I think the Samsung's display still looks a little more vivid. It looks a little bit more saturated. So if you're into that kind of thing, you'll enjoy it. Not that the OnePlus's is not. That's also a saturated display. But Samsung's still looking a little more vivid to me. Some people might not love we're getting that account switching thing. Let's go into Asphalt 9, but some people might not love the saturation of the Samsung. You just go ahead and put it in natural, and you'll just get a more natural looking display. So that's going to go to the Samsung. We might get a account conflict here. And no, doesn't seem like we are getting an issue there. What the heck was that? I just tapped out and just went like to Destiny. Let's go into 3D Mark. You'll see that was faster on the Samsung. We'll go to Geekbench 6, faster on the Samsung, and Speedtest Net, faster on the Samsung there, and InShot, faster on the Samsung was slightly. It could have been a margin of error with my finger. So at the end of the day, I think the Samsung's overclocked CPU is giving it a slight edge over the OnePlus 15 in terms of launching applications, and in gaming, it is slightly quicker because of this. I think the benchmarks are going to prove that as well. That overclocked CPU always boosts it just a little bit, enough to say it's a faster phone. But in reality, you're probably never going to notice it day to day in the real world too much. Okay, guys, so let's go ahead and take a look at how they hold the applications in the background. Doing pretty good. I did allow the bottom gesture to operate via Good Lock on the Samsung. So if you're not able to do this, just go to Good Lock and enable this feature. You'll be able to get this same where you don't have to swipe from the side to go ahead and go through your apps. But you can see right here, even with 12 gigs of RAM, zero issue reloading things. And what I've been liking about the Samsung experience is it's been pretty stable. comparatively to some of their years past. The past two phones, the S25 Ultra and this phone now, incredibly stable, like very, very consistent daily. That's not something that OnePlus is not used to, though. They're used to being stable, but the past couple years have been pretty strong for Samsung performance. Let's go into InShot, Speed Test Net, Geekbench 6, 3D Mark, and you can see they also have the ability to just swipe from the bottom. No problem. Nothing is closed here on the OnePlus. And let's go into Instagram, Groupon. We'll go into Copilot. We'll go into ChatGPT, Weather, Play Store, Calculator, Clock, and Calendar. Of course, this has more RAM. Why would it reload anything? It's not going to, and it did phenomenal. But one thing I was going to show you is that the OnePlus actually, this is pretty quick, but the OnePlus has a little bit of a faster, if you're swiping through really quickly, the OnePlus is a little bit better in this area. Watch this. So this phone, look at this. You can't go this fast through the Samsung phone, and that's smooth. So OnePlus, I think, does have the better animations overall. Not that you're ever going to do that day to day, but we're looking for data here. We're looking to see which one actually performs better, and I think animations wise, it's the OnePlus. The Samsung, though, slight overclock CPU gives it an advantage in actual performance. So interesting results here. You'll see that, remember when we looked at the clusters originally, they were the same clock speed, and at single core, the OnePlus actually pulled ahead. But that multi-core overclocked, you can see pulled ahead slightly on the Galaxy, but it's less than it was, I think, in previous years with the Galaxy and the OnePlus trading scores here. But I think I'm going to give this to the Galaxy because its multi-core score is quite a bit better than the OnePlus's multi-core, but the single core is actually not that much better. On the OnePlus is about the same, but both of these are absolute ridiculous powerhouse phones. Let's go into the 3D Mark Wildlife. We'll run this and we'll see what we can get on the graphic scores as well. This should be fun to see which one can sustain better performance, and they're both pretty hot right now because I haven't stopped running them since we began this video. They're not like hot, like burn your hand. These both have vapor chambers, but you know what I mean? Like they're warmed up. They're running right now a lot. So we'll see what they can pull off. And so OnePlus really tuning the OnePlus 15 to do really well in games has proven itself here. You'll see 35.15 FPS and scores better than 95% of devices on the market, with the Galaxy hitting 93. Now, I believe I seen a better score in my previous video on the Samsung. So what I'm going to do is run it back one more time, and I'll be back with the scores on the Samsung. Now, I'm not trying to like give it credit, but I just want to see, because in my previous test, I did get different results. As a matter of fact, we don't even have to run it back. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other day. So the other day I was able to get 96% better. So the Samsung is capable of outperforming the OnePlus 15, but in this specific test, when it was warmed up, it didn't, but definitely can do better. You can see right there, it can score higher frames per second. So I still think technically the Samsung can outshine the OnePlus 15, but it's very, very slight and very, very small. So let's go ahead and take a look at how they run on a speed test. Right here, we'll do speedtest.net right there. I'm going to make sure while that's going, I do have this on the same servers. And more people on the internet, so we're probably not going to hit our high score right now. It is evening time. People are probably streaming Netflix and all that. But still, getting close to 900 on the download, not terrible. You can see 953.34, 41 on the upload. Pretty par for the course for my upload lately. Should probably upgrade to faster uploads. You'll see right here that we do have ourselves going around 600, 700, 800 down. And you'll see that the OnePlus doesn't look like it's going to edge the Galaxy. I'm not surprised if it doesn't. Samsung usually have, but never mind. Let's take that back. It's outshined the Galaxy. Thought it wasn't going to, but these tests can always change at the last moment, and that's what happened on the OnePlus 15. So OnePlus 15, very, very capable. That's its high score for this particular phone. I think I've hit higher on previous tests on other devices, but yeah, can do similar Wi-Fi performance right there for sure. And before we wrap this up, let's go ahead and do a quick camera test. So let me zoom out just a little bit here, and I was using I was using this little Christmas tree to hold up the Galaxy because it rocks. Let's go ahead and put that phone there, and we'll go ahead and launch the cameras on both phones. So let's go and do that in 3, 2, go. And I think a little faster on that first launch for the Samsung. I got it in this like tablet mode from Good Luck. That's how I like this. How I like to run my apps for multitasking. Let's go into camera one more time. That time looked like the OnePlus, and we'll do it one final time. 3, 2, and go. Yeah, and that's gonna go with the OnePlus. Now in terms of shutter speed, the OnePlus looked actually a little bit faster there. Yeah, it looks like the OnePlus snaps photos a little bit quicker. So wrapping it up here, I think technically we can probably hit a little bit of a higher performance ceiling due to the overclocked CPU in the Galaxy S26 Ultra. But it is so minuscule that if you bought this phone over this phone because of that, you're probably not giving the OnePlus a fair shot here because, you know, you got to look at the other things. Do you like the camera? Do you like the design more? Do you like the silicon carbon battery option more? There's a lot of goodies to be had, and it's very, very tight. But if I was to say one winner here in a speed test, I think the Samsung slightly edged the OnePlus. But the shutter speed is slower, and there's a couple things that felt faster, and I would say that OnePlus feels a little bit smoother. But that's going to wrap it up here for me for this speed test. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you on the next one. Nick here. Be sure to be well, and peace.